Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and today I've got something that I want to talk about that I haven't seen anybody else talk about, and you know what, for some good reason, but I feel like it needs discussing, and I think it's about time we made this more, readily available information and put it out in a corner video. So a few months ago, there was a bit of leaker controversy. There was this person who was being referred to as Midori, who was actually somebody else, who was a pretty questionable person. They had been leaking a bunch of stuff, and while it seemed to all be legitimate, numerous things were being thrown into question after, their whole controversy kind of broke out. Among these were a bunch of Nintendo code names that they started throwing out. Games like You King O, or Red Star, or Edward, or Banquet. Now, people were quickly able to deduce what these games were from several other hints being thrown around, but, we've kind of forgotten about all these beyond the kind of takedown of this person. However, two of the games, Edward and Banquet, were presumably a new 2D Zelda and a new Mario Party, respectively, as the names were similar to other games in those series code names. But we kind of put this stuff to the side. This person's probably full of crap anyway. But recently, Echoes of Wisdom has come out. I've been enjoying the game quite a bit. And, people have been diving into the files, and the codename is indeed Edward. The game is actually labeled as Edward. The person was spot on. They were even saying the game would feature Zelda as a playable character. And, Banquet is likely the codename for Super Mario Party Jamboree. Let's be real, people were expecting a new game related to Super Mario Party because the codename for that game was Buffet. Banquet Buffet, very similar descriptions. So who's to say all these other ones are not also real, which is very exciting and spells out some interesting things. Now, again, these two games came out very shortly after this person started talking about these things, but the other games all sound like Switch 2 titles. So I'm gonna get into them real quick because I'm gonna be real. I totally believe that these are all happening, and I want to set the expectation right here, right now, that these make plenty of sense, and we will see them all very soon. So I think first off, let's go over what is probably the silliest one. One of the games is codenamed Anna. Now, Anna is a very vague name, it's just kind of Anna. Like, that's just a name. That is literally the name of a woman. What could possibly relate to this? Well, you're not going to believe it, but Nintendo Switch Sports is codenamed Elsa. That's right. Somebody on the dev team clearly has a sixth sense of humor. They have named these two games internally after the sisters from Frozen. I don't know if this was always the intent, but I mean, it's feasible. I guess that would make sense to expect a sequel to Switch Sports based on these pretenses. I mean, one's called Elsa, one's called Anna. It's probably Switch Sports 2, which is interesting. Switch Sports is a game I never got around to because, I'm going to be honest, it didn't look like it was worth my time. I've heard some people actually do like that game quite a bit, which, more power to them. But my thing with these games is that they are always good in a party environment. And the people I know would much rather play Wii Sports Resort over Switch Sports any day, regardless of what's been added to it. So, the game doesn't really do much for me, but a Switch Sports 2 could change the narrative a little bit. Part of me hopes that they would go in a different direction, introduce some other types of sports. If the games are codenamed Anna and Elsa, maybe it's going to be Switch Sports Resort, but it's a winter theme, a version of hockey and curling and bobsledding and skating. Those would be interesting sports in a Switch Sports game, Maybe also throw in bowling and a few others just to be like, oh, hey, these are indoor sports, so to speak. Or maybe it could just be a straight up Switch Sports 2. I wonder how much better it would look, Part of me thinks this would be a launch title, because honestly, considering how close the other two codenames were to release, I feel like this game is right around the corner too, which means this could be the casual offering at the launch of the Switch 2. That has me very intrigued. Next up, we've got SP Red, which is very interesting. So the red suffix seems to be a thing, or prefix actually, seems to be a thing that is used with 3D Mario games. Super Mario Odyssey was called Red Star, so this is clearly the next 3D Mario, which is another game that we expected to see early on the Switch 2's life, which, makes sense. Could be a launch title as well. I very much hope so. Mario and Switch Sports sounds like a pretty fun launch, if I'm being honest. So yeah, what would the game be? I mean, I guess it'd be the next 3D Mario. My current pitch for a new 3D Mario would be something akin to Bowser's Fury, but also with a bit of Mario Sunshine thrown in. The idea of having a fully interconnected world in a 3D Mario game, just like Bowser's Fury, but maybe make the theming a bit more, tied into itself, like in Mario Sunshine. I don't know, I think that'd be a cool idea. It doesn't necessarily have to have the same theming, of course. Maybe Mario's traversing a snowy village area, maybe there's like a ski resort, a town, a forest, some ice rink, I don't know, just like standard locations, like straight up locales, environments that would make sense to connect to each other. It could also just be a standard 3D Mario, or even just have standard theming, like, grass, desert, water, snow, like whatever. They can do whatever they want here. I am very excited to see what that is. The SP, I have no idea what that means. GBA SP, SP Switch Portable, Switch Plus, Switch Pro. Like, I don't know. Is the SP hinting at the name of the console itself? I mean, Nintendo's branding for the Switch changed to red, so Red Star, I guess, makes sense. On a side note, there was also a codename Silver Star. The leaker, quote-unquote, wasn't sure what was happening to the title, but it was in development at some point. To me, that just sounds like Mario Odyssey 2 was going to happen, but got canceled, so I wouldn't really pay that much mind. Another code that has been brought up is U-King-O. I think that's how it was worded. This one is pretty self-explanatory. You see, U-King is actually the code name for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and the -O represents the Switch 2's internal code name Ounce. This has been refuted by multiple people. This is 100% true. So, based on everything, this is a version of Breath of the Wild for the Switch 2. Other games have used similar formatting for like other ports. For example, I think like Captain Toad is dash like C or H, which is like the 3DS's code name. I forget which one is which, but basically this would be a port of Breath of the Wild to the Switch 2. Now, what would it entail? I'm assuming a graphics boost, unlike the Wii U ports, which were just to get old game onto the Switch that wasn't on the Switch. These are probably going to be more about upgrading the games. I'm guessing 4K resolution, 60 FPS, running the game at the higher fidelity possible on the new console, but it kind of begs the question, will Nintendo do more of these? I think we briefly touched upon this in a few videos, specifically the Switch 2 failures discussion. I really hope it doesn't become a trend where we see Nintendo port a bunch of old games over like they did with the Wii U. With that, it made sense. The Wii U didn't sell well, and the system was not backwards compatible, but we're expecting the Switch 2 to be backwards compatible, so if we just get a Sony situation where we're dealing with tons of remasters and ports of Switch games to Switch 2, I'll be mildly disappointed, honestly. There's not too many Nintendo games I really want to have a facelift, and I don't think you're going to get a crazy facelift with most of these anyway. I'm not expecting to see like Pokemon Sword and Shield, but they look amazing or something, I really hope we don't get too many of these, but Breath of the Wild, maybe even Tears of the Kingdom, 60 FPS 4K port sounds, plausible. It's a way to bring that game back into the marketing sphere. It'd be the only 3D Zelda, aside from Tears, to not have a remaster, which is funny thinking about it. I mean, it has only been 7 years, but I mean, Twilight Princess was 10 years old when it got its. Only like another 3 years, and that would have made sense. Same with Skyward Sword, so yeah, screw it. In like 2025, a Breath of the Wild remaster on the Switch 2. Zelda, Breath of the Wild 4K. Sure, why not? Last but certainly not least, Spiral. Now, this is interesting. Numerous fans have pointed out that this read is incorrect, but I'm going to say it just to get it out of the way. Some people think this is the next entry in the Splatoon series. I'm not sure if it necessarily will be. Some people say otherwise, so again, I'm not going to hold my breath to it. I can't really think of off the top of my head what it could be. Splatoon 4, I think, will be a 2026 game. I don't see it happening right away in the first year. I mean, who knows? It could, honestly. Could be like a late 2025 game, which would be extremely exciting, but I don't know. I feel like we're still a little bit of a ways off, maybe early 2026, mid 2026, have Splatoon kind of fill the void. Like, okay, let's say 2026, has mainline Generation 10 of Pokemon at the end of the year, maybe has a little bit of a halfway through kind of big release. They could drop Splatoon 4. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think it'd make a lot of people very happy. It'd make myself very happy as well. I think Splatoon 4 is a game that a lot of people want, since I know there are many hardcore Splatoon fans who are unsatisfied with Splatoon 3. I think the game's fantastic, but I do understand where they're coming from, and I am very excited to see what is next for the series as well. We just wrapped up the Grand Festival. Splatoon 3 is over, so yeah, yeah, bring on Splatoon 4. If it's not Splatoon 4, it's probably some other game that we couldn't predict. Maybe it's the next Mario Kart or something instead. But yeah, that's all the Codenames. Again, like I said, I don't condone this person. Don't trust him. Don't listen to them. But Edward was correct. And Banquet is most likely also correct. So take these as you will. I'm going to take them as Nintendo probably has a lot of these games in development. 3D Mario is guaranteed happening regardless of any of this. And Switch Sports 2, honestly, the more I think about it, the more sense it makes. Switch Sports sold a lot. Like, it sold really well. So a sequel, and a sequel in time for the launch of the system, pretty much guarantees success, you know? They could experiment with another casual game that isn't Wii Sports, but I think they've kind of, they want to play things very safe. Furukawa was a very conservative Nintendo president, so I could imagine them going back to the Switch Sports, Wii Sports well for the casual game to launch with the console. But, you know, that's just my line of thinking. Who knows? They could be doing anything. One of these could be for Pushmo, for all I know. But, yeah, that's about it. Keep yourselves cornered. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you guys on the next one real soon. Bye-bye.